This is Immigrant Podcast with Robinson.
Welcome everybody to the podcast. And today I have Stanislav Goldobin with me. Welcome to the podcast, Stan.
Hi, Robinson. Hi. Thank you very much for having me.
How are you doing today?
Very good, very good. Couple of deals confirmed, which means we can go forward with that. So
Excellent, excellent. Way to go. Stan, I would like to know, the audience would like to know, who is Stan? Who are you?
Stan is a simple man coming from a very small town of Kazakhstan, which is called Aksu in Kazakhstan. Stan has traveled a little bit the world and ended up being in Canada as a citizen for the past 14 years now.
Interesting. Would you like to say a couple of words in Russian for those listeners that speak Russian?
Приветствую всех на этом подкасте. Надеюсь, что у нас получится с Робинсом хороший сегодня разговор.
Спасибо.
Не за что.
Stan, I know that you have a very interesting immigration story. Where does it start? Where does it end? And how was the process of each one of those two or three different scenarios where you had to go through?
Sure. So it all starts in Kazakhstan, Aksu. As I mentioned, I lived in my city up until 15-year-old. I had a little bit of a soccer career in that city, and we traveled all around Kazakhstan, and it was fantastic. My parents decided to emigrate to Argentina. At the time, it was impossible to make it officially, legally to the country. So they had to take one on the chin and, how we say it, test the waters and see what's going to happen if you can actually immigrate to the country illegally, because there was a way at the time. They were accepting people that would arrive in Argentina without no documents and apply for the refugee status. And this is what they did. This is why I did not embark with them on the initially. So I was left out with my grandmother in Kazakhstan for like 3 years, I think, yeah. So they went there first, and then they arrived at very interesting times in Argentina. They did not know about that, but they arrived in 2000, and that was a huge crisis in Argentina. The dollar fell from being $1 to $1, $1, 1 peso to 1 to 3. For $1, you needed to pay 3 pesos, and whatever money they brought with them was in United US dollars, and then they converted all that money into pesos while they were there, so they lost triple. And it was a very, very discouraging situation for them as first-time immigrants. Plus, they got scammed. There was an agency that invited them for work type of deal, and then supposed to provide them with work positions, and they screwed them over pretty much and left them out there, and they made them pay a large amount of dollars. And so they lost money there, started the immigration in the country that's going through crisis, and have no job. So try to deal with that when you actually do not speak the language. When you come from Kazakhstan, where you speak Russian or Kazakh, in our case Russian, and then you need to learn a new language. You need to actually embark on a new journey completely with new people, new culture, new everything. Right. So tough people, I have to say, my parents. So they had to work, on the factories, shoe factories. My mom going to the factory crying, coming back crying. Tough times. But They survived and everything started to stabilize bit by bit. And this is when they said, okay, Stan, you need to come over. You need to come over now. This is the time. And I think this is actually when they already planned to make the next step, which was apply for the immigration to Canada. So here I am, 15-year-old guy, arrived in Argentina. The only thing that I knew is hello and bye, actually in English, so I didn't speak any Spanish. So right there on the streets of Argentina, Buenos Aires, drifting around, went to school to learn Spanish. First people that I got to know there helped me out a lot, always with the dictionary, going to sleep with the dictionary, waking up with the dictionary. So like this for a little bit, and then I got a team that accepted me in the 3rd division in Argentina, in AFA, Deportivo Riestra. That was good. This is where I learned my Spanish, actually. So that was a huge step for me to get to know the culture, the Argentinian culture, which is a little bit different to other countries in Latin America. They think differently. They're a little bit like European type of style. Most of them are Italians. 75% I think in Argentina are Italians. So they have roots from Italy and they think differently. They think like Europeans. Anyways, so spent a good time there. A lot of work. Started young. So at 14, 15 years old, I was already selling some newspapers on the streets there, waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going and making my couple of dollars to help the family. Because my mom told me, it was like, Stan, I love you to death, but we just have no choice. We have to go through that stage right now. We have to all work. We all have to contribute, and we all worked very hard. So from the minute I arrived in Argentina, I never stopped working. Like I was always working full-time and studying full-time at all times and playing soccer on top of that.
Even
So
when you did not speak the language.
Even when I did not speak the language. So I was selling newspaper. I knew just a couple of words. And, those guys in the morning, at 5 o'clock in the morning, they want to know the score. How River and Boca played. And there was I was selling Clarín, it was called, the newspaper. It was like, what are you mumbling out there? I don't understand what you're saying. What's the score? So I would just show the newspaper, and that's how it goes, bit by bit, and you grab here, you grab there, and you learn the language. But I ended up learning language pretty good to what I think it's good. And so finish my high school there. And it was not easy, but it was not hard either. It's something that you actually don't remember because you're in the process of things. You just do something. And once you ask to do something, you do. Especially at the age of 15, 16, 17, you just go with the flow. And I'm very always been a sociable guy, so I would be talking to everybody out there. Anyway, so that little journey in Argentina, and after that, at 19 years old, my family decided to move to Canada. We applied, we got accepted, and we moved on, and we got into Canada. So now we're in Canada. And here you go, another journey, other goals that we need to achieve.
Right. So you went through kind of a huge process from, let's say, 15 to 19. You basically had to change 2 countries within 4 years, 5 years. You had to learn new language, Spanish. But when you moved to Canada, were you able to speak English and French?
No, actually, when we moved here, we did not speak the language at all. None of
the 2.
None of us, but you had to pass a French exam, an exam in French language. That was only applied for my parents. So they did it. But obviously, it's such a basic level of French. Bonjour, ça va bien. That's it. So it was, I consider that as having no language.
Right.
So because I'm a perfectionist in the language. So I love to speak the language in 100%, even if it's not 100%, but properly. So for me, that was not, after realizing, of course, that was not like a language skill at 100%. No. So pretty much, no language skill there.
How at 19 you started learning English and French?
Pretty easy. There's always people around you that's gonna say, okay, so we have a school, and you need to go and register, and they take people that want to learn English. And so I went to one of those schools. We used to live in Verdun at the time. I think it was called James Ling or something like that, something of that kind. I don't remember exactly. I think it's James Ling. So anyway, it's a school where you come in and you start the language from the scratch. I was with everybody there. Apple, you just go and you learn it this way. I went through all the levels, and I realized that university time, I need to move very quickly. So what do I do? In exactly 5 months from there, I already applied for Concordia. Without no language, no nothing. I was like, okay, I'll just rock and roll, and I'll do my best to just do it,
Good.
And at that time, it was a little bit harder to learn the language, because I started to work on my second day being in Canada.
I was going to ask you, because I know you said ever since you arrived to Argentina, you started working basically right away. And I knew you were not going to change that when you arrived to Canada. So you started working right away.
Yes, a little bit that way. And also it's just something that I saw the opportunity, and I knew that my family, they were not super well there to support all the things that I actually want to do without working. So my mom told me, Stan, I think it's going to be more or less the same experience. We still have to battle through this, but after it's going to be it's going to be all right. So I was the first person to start working in the family. On the second day, I was already working, because I had a guy on the third floor. He was an immigrant from Ukraine, and he was going to those jobs that are illegally. They take you in a bus, like in those movies, they take you in a bus, they take you to a factory. It was a plastic factory somewhere in Laval, I think, or something like that. And they take you in a bus, and they drive you to the plant. You work there, then you come back, and then they issue a paycheck. But after it was legal. So I said I needed to be legal, and they did. So I worked in that factory. So the schedules were a little bit rough. That's why my concentration was not 100% there, because I had to work from 12 in the morning until 8 o'clock in the morning. So that was
very difficult.
That was my shift, completely abnormal. And so after that, at 10 o'clock, I had to be already in school to learn English. So super sleepy, super not so bad.
Not focused at all.
Not focused at all, but somehow, still was in my head. I was like, yeah, I have to be here, I have to be there, whatever. So it's okay. It worked out, everything worked out. So,
And then did you actually end up going to Concordia?
Correct. So my journey took me to Dawson College, because they did not accept me at first, because I didn't pass exam for 10% or something. So, which I was still like happy, to be honest with you. I was like 10%, 5 months here, like that's rock and roll for me.
Yeah.
But so I had to go to, they suggested me to go to Dawson College, to college. I chose Dawson for international commerce, international business. So I had to do a couple of courses before I got accepted there, like math and English, I think. So I got accepted at Dawson College, finished my school there. And then by the time I was finishing, I had a lot of different things happening in my life. So I moved on from a couple of works, from unloading like those factories, then to unloading trucks at C-Mart company, loading, unloading trucks, night shifts and all that stuff. But I was always working towards the English environment or French environment, and like somewhere where they speak the language. I didn't want to work with Russians or no Spanish because I already spoke those languages. So what's the purpose?
That's a very
And
good approach to learn language.
yeah, I was against completely because I said, what am I going to learn with Russians? Nothing. I already, because I was, even here, I worked for one day. I was like distributing newspapers, marketing those brochures, in the morning. So, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. So let's jump into something else. Anyways, so my first English good work, I ended up getting it from the Gazette. I was taking a metro and I saw there is an opportunity for a dishwasher at the restaurant. I said, my mom told me, Stan, do not disregard any work. If there's anything that you can be in the English environment and this is exactly what you're looking for, take it. So I called this guy. I ended up being at W Hotel in the Old Port at Square Victoria as a dishwasher at the W Hotel in the restaurant that's called Otto. Dirty to death, sweating, doing dishes. Beautiful girls coming in, looking at me. I'm like, do what you gotta do. Like my English was not good at the time, so, and it's actually my mom always told me, do not fear any work out there as long as you work legally and you know what's your goal, go and do it.
Correct.
So from there I went dishwasher, then a manager of the restaurant. Some time passed by, a manager of the restaurant was passing by on the kitchen, very proper Italian man, and in a suit and tie. So I grabbed him. I was like, Pasquale, I would like to work as a busboy at your restaurant. Would you accept me? He was like, do you have a suit and tie? I was like, yes, but I didn't have one. I was like, yes, sure. He was like, tomorrow you start a new job. Huh.
Nice.
Dishwasher to busboy at the same restaurant, already serving all Habs and Canadians at the time were coming to that restaurant exactly after their games to eat. All superstars would stay at that hotel. So it was a very prestigious hotel. And so I started, working my way up and stuff like that while studying at the college. So, and then when I was finishing my college, I started to apply for different work because I sort of like thought I'm going to have like, a little bit of a degree or some sort of a knowledge to come into the business world. My idea was always for international business. I don't know why, but I just wanted to do it. And I applied for different jobs. And one of companies that accepted me and asked me for the interview to come, it's Concordia Canada. It's a big, very large trading house for frozen meat commodity. So they would sell pork, beef, and poultry internationally to all around the world. And this is exactly how my journey started there.
So your journey started there, but you are actually an entrepreneur.
Correct.
So you have your own business today.
I'm into the partnership. Yes.
With them.
With them, yeah, exactly.
Perfect. So You started working from them. Now you become a partner. Are you
This is
also
No, this is a different company. So I worked for, I'm going to tell this briefly, and that's going to lead to where I am right now today.
okay?
So I worked at this Christian Canada company for 9 years. And so I was getting the first job as a logistics coordinator, which means I need to make sure that the container gets loaded and gets on the vessel and gets to the destination, call it Australia, Philippines, Russia, doesn't matter. So, and then you need to do documentation for that. You needed to talk to the cold storage to get to load the product, transport, etc., etc. So I had my first year like this, and after that I asked for a trader position because I was like, these guys on the phone are just killing it. What are they doing? Like, confirm 10 loads, confirm 20 loads. I'm like, what are you confirming out there? It's crazy. I want to be that. So yeah, it was like my eyes were like, wow, this is like crazy stuff. They all like drive like Mercedes. They go like on the trips all the time. It was like, that's me,
I want to make
100%.
that money. I want to get the commissions.
Big time, big time. So, and then after 1 year, I was giving my first job as a junior trader at the company. Started trading with to develop Latin America at the time. Honduras, Panama, Colombia, all those countries at the time. So worked those markets. Then I was added to West Africa, dealt with Benin, Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Angola, South Africa, you name it. And that was another journey of mine as well, which like brought me to more of like a French culture. So right there you become very diversified. Latin
Right.
America, West Africa, okay, what's next? So, and then the managers approached me and said, Stan, we would like to see you on the high end of the business, which is Japan business. Japan in meat industry is the highest end of business that could possibly exist out there. So I was brought up to Japan to work in Japan for 5 years. So the the last 5 years in the company, I worked in Japan market, traveled to Tokyo, anywhere, whatever. So, and handled that business. And then something occurred to me that I think that there is something else out there because, I love everything. I love people that I'm working with, but my ambitions are way too high, and I cannot express myself fully, and I do not have enough leverage here. So, and I'm young. My bosses were like 55, and I'm like the time I was like 30, whatever. So, it takes a little bit of time for them to realize that you're actually the next man in line to handle business. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to waste my time, and I'm actually going to move on with that. So I had my friend that worked in the same company. He worked for the same 9 years, and then he departed and then opened up a trading house. So I call him and I say, Landry, this is the time. This is the time. So we partnered up, and now we work together, and we have traders and people that work with us in finance, logistics, etc. So I'm the director of the company,
Okay.
second person in line, um, in charge of business development. So yeah, that's my duty. So
Very good. And for all of us immigrants who are here, we tend to have this mindset that maybe we acquired from our home countries, from university, because I certainly believe that the university in general does not prepare us to be entrepreneurs as of today so far. They prepare us to be employees. How, what are your recommendations to all those immigrants out there who just arrived, who has been here for a few years, if they want to go into owning their own businesses, into becoming entrepreneurs? Because you
Right.
did it.
I did it. I did it. It took some time, but yes, it did happen though. And you know what? The funny thing, before I actually say that, my recommendations, I had it for a long time. I was carrying with me a thought of having a departure for like 3 years, I think. So it was like heavy thoughts to carry on the
Right.
day-to-day basis, because you did realize that it's not gonna work, because you just need to move on, but then you still have those like responsibilities of like a little bit maybe like a fear,
Right.
or like, oh, what's gonna happen, or what's gonna do this, that, because you know you work for a big company, and it's like as big as it sounds, the industry is still very small. So yeah, I would definitely do the number one thing that I always say to my friends that are a little bit younger than me. If you do not enjoy work every single day of your life, you're done. You're done. This is not the approach. And I can say that because I've done works that I hated so much, but I had to do them.
Right.
But that was like, initial breakthrough. Eventually, you need to find that strength, and take that time and sit down and realize, what is it that you want to do? What is it that brings you happiness on every single day when you wake up and you say, God damn it, that's my day. Today I'm closing deals. Today I'm doing this. I'm getting this, that. And if you don't have that passion, if you just wake up and it's like the number one thing that you think, maybe coffee, maybe this, maybe that, that's going to lead you towards quitting that job very quickly, because again, there's different people, different mindsets. I'm talking for those guys that are actually hustling through life, and they really want to achieve something, that want to stand the ground. So I would suggest to listen to your heart when you do work. What does your heart tell you when you do that work? What does it tell you? And the worst thing that you can do is lie to yourself, because you can lie to a friend. He might be okay with that. You might lie to your family. They might be okay with that. But once you lie to yourself, there is no way back. There is no
No.
return. So
Right.
there is no return. It's a journey to nowhere. So do not lie to yourself, and be honest with yourself. So what is it that you like to do? And I would follow that. And to be honest with you, I know people say, yeah, but it doesn't matter what you do. It does matter what you do. But, I agree that if you find your happiness doing like being a yoga teacher, fantastic. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Paint like you paint. I love it. I have friends that are painters. They do that. They finish the university. They paint. They paint for a living. So
But
you can't tell
they love painting.
exactly. They've tried so many different things, but they ended up being painting because it's something that they love. So
Well,
you
I
cannot.
teach part-time, right?
Right.
And I was talking to a few people a couple of days ago, and they asked me like, why are you still teaching? And I said, because it's my passion.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I have a job, but I see myself as teaching for as long as I live, because it is something that I enjoy doing, whether you pay me for it or not. If you don't
Correct.
pay me, I'll find a way. Like right now, I'm actually teaching English to a friend. She doesn't speak any English, right? I'm doing it because I love it. That's my passion.
Correct. Correct. Follow your passion. Follow your passion. I always said that. Always said that. So, and I had that passion for every single day out there that I worked in this company, except for the little like, 2 years and whatever. It's because I had my mind elsewhere. But besides that, it was crazy. Like one deal confirmed, and you get so excited. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the
You
next
jump from
day,
the chair. Yes.
yes. And then the next day you travel to that country. And then you meet the business owners who you sell the product to. And
Even
you
more
go
exciting.
and you get to see where your product that you sold in the cold storage. You did it. And it's like, and you have a dinner with them, business meeting, and you say, God damn it, yes, it's happening. So product travels all across the world. It gets places, contracts get done, you get paid. Fantastic. What else are you asking from that? It's amazing. So yeah, working for yourself, it's different because there is no directions. You are the only direction that you have, and obviously, there's people around you, but once you actually, if you are in charge of the direction for other people, you need to know where you're going. So
Right.
that's another one, which is, my girlfriend sometimes is like, what are you thinking about? I'm like, this, that, we have to move here, have to move there, have to do this, have to do that. It's always there. It's always there. It's always present. You don't
The
stop up.
planning, strategies,
Yeah,
structuring things.
visualizing what you want to be, where you are and what you want to be and what you're actually doing for it. It's like it's a huge thing. So yeah,
And
and
work for it. All right,
yeah.
that's very interesting, and I thank you for those tips. I mean, you have done it. It sounds like what you're basically really saying is, work a little bit, put in the time, try to understand the businesses, try to understand what you want, and then get started, take action. Because if you don't take any action, nothing's going to happen, right? And that's
Correct.
what you did. You learned the business, and now you own your own business, and you get excited every time you get a deal. Because I know when we started, you say, I got 2 deals, and I felt how excited you were.
Oh,
And that's how
yeah.
we feel when we do things on our own. Like we work for companies and we deliver projects, and we feel excited. But once we do it for ourselves, it's even more exciting.
Oh, it's crazy. It's a crazy feeling, and I swear to God that there's nothing like this. Nothing like this. But you need to make sure that your energy level, it's good. Like you need to make sure that you always have that acceptance around you. Like that everything that you do has to be linked back to the energy. And I repeat that word a lot. It's because I'm a big believer in the proper energy and channeling your energy properly. I'm a big believer in that because yeah, a lot of times we just do not channel our energy properly. Oh, YouTube. Okay. Instagram. This. The next thing you know, it's like the day it's gone. Nothing has been done.
Yeah, you haven't accomplished anything. Correct.
Zero. So channeling, it's huge. And channeling means the procrastination. So once you start channeling properly, your procrastination gets gone. Like it just almost doesn't exist.
It disappears.
So
Correct.
whatever you're planning to do for tomorrow, I've done it today.
Awesome. Awesome. That's a
So
great
that,
approach. I love it.
yeah.
Stan, where could people reach you at, follow you? What social media do you use? What's the website of your company if people want to reach out?
Sure. It's www.brunson.com, and use Instagram for the social media. Should I leave it somewhere in the description,
Yeah,
or
it's going to be part of the description for sure. correct.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Yeah, there's a lot of bicycle pictures there lately. It's my new passion. I'm cycling a lot.
There's a lot of
So
cyclers in Montreal, so if someone
yeah,
wants to cycle with you or they want to
100%.
invite you, I know you're going to be open to it. I want to thank you for being a part of the podcast. It's been great. It's been enriching, very interesting. And just to close it out, I'd like you again to invite those people from, let's say, uh, Kazakhstan or Russian speaking in your own language to follow us, to support the Immigrant podcast and the project, which is really growing by the day. And I'll let it at you, so take it over.
Sure. Еще раз спасибо, Робин, за то, что пригласил нас в свой подкаст. Всех ребят, ребят и девчат, которые только начали свой путь в миграции здесь, в Канаде, если есть какие-то вопросы или вам интересно поговорить со мной или встретиться, я всегда открыт для общения. Можете найти мои контакты в подкасте внизу. Очень интересно сегодня было. На самом деле это мой первый опыт подкаста с Робинсом, и я очень ему благодарен, то, что мы поговорили сегодня. Я надеюсь, это наша не последняя встреча. Всего хорошего всем. Желаю всем удачи. Не ленитесь, делайте вещи, не откладывайте дела на завтра, делайте их сегодня. Всем добра, всем любви.
Очень спасибо, Stan.
Да, you're welcome. Okay.
Thank you very much, everybody. Until next time.
This was Immigrant Podcast with Robinson.